issues facing the Fox Valley and its workforce?
Sure. Well, what I mentioned in the discussion, and certainly what I continue to hear every day, is that employers in Northeast Wisconsin just can't find people. We have plenty of jobs available. We're at near full employment in Wisconsin, and yet our labor force participation nationally is down, and certainly employers here are struggling to find people. So how do we get people into the workforce, and how do we attract people that have been raised here to come back to Wisconsin, to start a family here, start a business here, and get a good job here? That's really, I think, the most important economic challenge we face going forward.
Do you think the low unemployment rate has something to do with this too, or it's harder to find workers?
Well, certainly. And that's a good thing that we have low unemployment, right? We don't want a lot of people unemployed. People can find jobs. But so now the question is, how do we take people that aren't in the workforce, get them into the workforce, and allow businesses that want to expand, want to make investments, build a bigger business, make investments in the local community, get them the workers they need. That's not there's no simple silver bullet solution for that, but there's a few things we can do. I mean, one, we talked a lot today. It seemed like there was agreement on both sides of the aisle on elevating the role of career and technical education. I think for a while we've sold that generation a certain theory that you have to go to a four-year college. Well, there are more options out there, and we have world-class technical schools right here in Northeast Wisconsin. So there's some things we can definitely agree on and move forward on.
What can the government do to help?
Well, obviously, a lot of our colleges here rely on government funding, but we also want to make sure that our money is being spent efficiently and effectively. I also think one interesting point in the conversation was for worker retraining programs that the government operates, like TAA. They're not really done that efficiently, so how do we modernize them, right? Because the one thing we know about the next generation is we're going to change jobs more frequently than our parents' generation did. So that old model where you work in the same factory for 30 years, that may be true for some people, but for a lot of millennials, it's going to be different. So we need to create a generation of lifelong learners, and we need to have educational opportunities and worker retraining programs that help them get a job in a different industry should their job be disrupted by automation or trade or something else.
Was there a particular topic or question that came up during the discussion that intrigued you or thought was particularly important?
Well, it was interesting. Listen, I was struck by the amount of agreement on some of this stuff. And maybe it's because we didn't get into the weeds on some stuff, and certainly there are ideological divisions, but the fact that we were just able to bring people from different perspectives to the table to have this discussion is great. I mean, one thing that frustrates me as a new member of Congress and someone who's new to politics is how little of that we actually do. I mean, I'm fully willing to admit that I don't, have all the answers for everything. I mean, part of the reason I, like working with the local legislators is I believe we should have a lot of our problems solved at the lowest level possible, where we can develop solutions that are unique to Northeast Wisconsin rather than accepting a one-size-fits-all solution that may not work for us. So that really struck me. I wish we had more time, too, because there's some things that didn't get discussed. I mentioned infrastructure at the end. We know that our infrastructure is in need of repair. Trade is another thing, and obviously we're having an immigration debate, which obviously for our agricultural industry is very important, as well as all other industries here in Wisconsin.
Why is it important to have a bipartisan discussion?
Listen, I mean, no one has a monopoly on wisdom in this country, and if we can't disagree about policy without demonizing the other side, then we're losing what's great, not only about America, but what I think is particularly great about Northeast Wisconsin. I have a lot of friends with whom I disagree vehemently on policy, and sometimes I don't even understand their views, right? But I want to listen to them because that's the best way that I can test my own views. I can refine my arguments, and over time, if the evidence doesn't support what you think, you have to be willing to change your mind. And to get anything done, no one gets 100% of what they want sometimes. You got to be willing to execute the 80% solution. So I think we need to maintain, at a time of growing divisiveness politically, where people spend all their day on social media yelling at each other, we need to bring people together as like real human beings, face to face, and just talk and understand the other side.
Anything else you'd like? Thank you.
Great. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.